I was being shot by the eye. Chased by an unstopped boat. Mama told me the Lord, it's got its ups and downs. When the tide comes along, you gotta ride it or drown. Understanding the choice, you gotta weigh it in. You never see him again. You never see him again.
Not that one. Let's go. Let's go. Consider, what if I just try staying on this instead?
Every day that we face it is a battle for two, and the circuit is burning, it is causing a fuse. I am doubting myself, I am a stranger to you.
Hello streamers, my name is Music Kid and welcome to the only Mix It Up setup tutorial you're ever going to need again. Today we're going to run through the UI, the basis of getting the bot up and running, and cover the introduction of what it can do. We'll go over how to use specific parts of Mix It Up in other videos that I'll have in this playlist right here. Welcome to Streaming for Dummies, and you're watching the best tutorials on YouTube. To install Mix It Up, you're going to go to their website mixitapp.com, which I've linked down below, and then you're going to click on the download button, which should take you to the Download Mix It Up Today box. And you're going to click the Download Installer button, which should automatically start this setup process installer. Once you do that, you're going to go ahead and open up the installer prompt. It should look like this, waiting for Mix It Up to it's closing my old Mix It Up instance. So you're going to run that fresh. Just follow the prompts on screen there. And it should prompt you to install to your C drive. If you want it to go somewhere else instead of your C drive, during the installer is where you're gonna tell it where to go. I have mine set to go to my extra hard drive for in this instance because that's where I keep all my stream settings. I would recommend putting it somewhere where you're gonna remember where it is, as we're gonna come back and reference that location several times throughout using Mix It Up. Navigating Mix It Up can be a bit confusing, but we're gonna go over what the UI is and what each thing does or means today. When you're doing the setup, it should automatically have you set up your accounts and set up a profile and things like that. You want to have I leave automatically login current account on because I'm the only person who uses this computer and I'm the only person who streams off of this computer. But if you share a computer with other streamers or other people who are going to be making content and using Mix It Up, I would recommend leaving that off. You can set up your defaults here, your default streaming platform, your default language, your default audio output, all can be saved here. This is where you set up what your chat looks like inside of Mix It Up and what you want each username to come across as and things like that. This is how you can set the command parameters. We'll go over different types of these kind of things in another Mix It Up video. This is where your alerts go if you would like alerts to show up in your dashboard. You can turn this on, and I can talk about the and I'll talk about the dashboard in another video as well. Notifications are for if you feel like you need a reminder whenever a message comes through from chat, or when Mix It Up connects and disconnects, if you've properly logged in or not. This is where you'll do that. Users is where you set up the different types of users you have. So, like if you want regular subscribers to have certain things like that, you can do that there. Overlays are where you set up all of your overlay endpoints, which we'll talk more about in another video. Counters are where you set up all of your counters that you'd like to have Mix It Up count for, which again we'll talk about in another video. Hotkeys are where you can set up different hotkeys for Mix It Up to do. That way, if you want to have like Control Shift Alt 1 run a command and Mix It Up, you can set that up in here. Serial devices is something that I haven't messed around with very much, but we can cover that in another video if that's something you guys are interested in. And then the advanced tab is where you set up your backup settings. I highly recommend having it back up at least once a month, if not more frequently. Set the location to be somewhere where you're going to remember where your backups go. And then you can also run the new user wizard here if you'd like to reset your Mix It Up settings. And that is everything in the settings cogwheel. Up here along the top, you'll see dashboard, clear chat, disable chat, and pause commands. Clear chat does exactly what you think it does. It clears all of the chat messages that you can see inside your chat widget. Your dashboard is something that looks like this. And we talked about that a little bit in the settings menu. This is where you'll have your frequently used quick commands. You can have your redemption store here. You can have your alerts go here. That way you don't have to worry about needing alerts from anywhere else on your OBS dock. This is just something you can use. I use it for alerts, my redemption store, and my quick commands. That way I can do things like click this, and it automatically posts that in chat for me. Alright, and that is those buttons. So then we're going to look at the hamburger menu up here in the upper left-hand corner. And there's a lot going on over here. I know it looks really scary, but we're going to fly through this together, and we're going to go over what each and every one of them does. And then there's going to be other videos on certain chunks of these and how to use those chunks. Again, in the description down below, there'll be videos in the playlist for this series. The very first one is channel. This is where you can set up your stream title, your stream tags, your game category, and update it. You can also find a channel to raid based off of followed channels, team members if you're on a stream team, people in the same category, or featured streamers. This is also where you can change your YouTube broadcast and things like that if you are streaming on YouTube and Twitch, or if you just stream to YouTube and want to use the bot and you don't stream to Twitch, or vice versa. Up next is the chat box, which we showed earlier. That's just going to be where your chat comes through, and you can read it from here. This will be both your YouTube chat and your Twitch chat at the same time. If you do both streams, if you only do one or the other, they'll show up here. Currently, they do not support TikTok chat, Twitter chat, Instagram chat, Kick chat. They don't have those kind of things integrated yet, but they are working on getting some of those other platforms integrated and to mix it up. Commands are where all of your commands are going to go. They have pre-made ones that you can use if you click on the pre-made area, like quotes, follow age. You can play different games. You can set the games. You can have your mod be able to set the game title, set your stream title, start giveaways. You can see the streamer age. You can see the subscriber age, all that kind of stuff. And then we can do some custom commands, which is stuff that I have all set up already in these blocks, which we'll go over how to do in another video. Events are things like follower alerts and subscriber alerts and when you get rated on Twitch, things like that. Those are all events. Those are really cool little things that pop up, like, for example, my follower alert, which won't play on this scene. But, you know, you can have different videos and things play like that. When people follow you, raid you, subscribe to you, all that good kind of stuff. We'll go over how to set those up in another video as well. Timers are just chat messages that play on command or on a roll instead of by command. I've got a couple. I need to turn this one on, actually. I've got a couple turned on that just play different call to actions and things like that throughout my stream. Action groups are different ways to do certain things all at once. Like if you want a command to do like 8 things at once, but you don't want to have to put in a line for each and every thing, you can make an action group. And we'll go over how to do all of that in another video as well when we get to commands and things like that. Community commands is a really cool area. Mix It Up is an open source application, meaning anybody can create an app, meaning anybody can create a command for it and put it on their web store completely for free. So if you're looking for interesting things to do because you need some inspiration, the community command store is a really cool place to go and hang out and look around for ideas. Users is where you can set individual user things, like let's say I want Nightbot to have a certain command that whenever a Nightbot says its first message or something like that, it does something. You can set that up in here. We'll go over how to do things like that in the commands video. The music player just plays music files locally from your PC. If you have like a playlist of music saved to your PC that you want to play, you can use the music player to do so. Twitch channel points is where you can activate all of your channel points using Mix It Up. We'll go over how to link channel points to commands and things like that in the commands video as well. I skipped over one. Currency and inventory is another way of using. It's like a secondary channel point redeem, but through Mix It Up instead of through Twitch. We'll go over how to set those up in its own video because I think they're really, really cool. And there's a lot of really fun applications to use with the currency system. Twitch bits are what happen when you get a bit rain. When you get a bit from anybody, you can set up what you want to have done in specifically that section. I don't know anything about Trovo, so I don't know what the Trovo spells area is. If you do happen to know what that is about, please let me know down in the comments down below what that is, and I'd be more than happy to learn from you guys about that. Streamloots cards are what you can connect a Streamloots card to something in chat. So if you want to do, like, when somebody redeems a Streamloots card, there's a chat message that goes along that thanks them, or, you know, it triggers an extra thing on stream. You can have that done here. Crowd control does the same thing. Whenever somebody redeems a crowd control thing for coins, you can have it do a chat command or things like that as well via Mix It Up. I haven't fiddled with Stream Pass months, but it's like a battle pass for your viewers. I need to explore around with that more, but it looks like a really fun area. Maybe we'll explore that together. Overlay widgets are where you can set up timers and things like that to show up on stream, or your sub goal, for example, using overlays. We'll go over how to set those up in its own video. Games are games that people can use to win the currency that we set up in the currency area. Just fun little ways for people to play around and get chat interaction going on. Giveaways, where you can host a giveaway for things. You can set the command. You can set what the item is. You can set the timer. You can set the reminders. You can set the max entries. All of that good kind of stuff right here. Should you want to run a giveaway in chat one night for anything like that, you can use Mix It Up to do that. Game queue is if you play like Dead by Daylight or Valorant or things like that with your viewers and you want people to be able to join a queue so that there's, you know, a proper system to how they join, and it's not just willy-nilly whoever joins you first. We can go over how to do that in another video if you guys want me to. Quotes is a really fun one. I recommend having it turned on for all of your streams. It's just where people can do exclamation point add quote, and then they can type in some silly stuff that you said. And as you can see, my chat loves to quote me saying some really out-of-pocket shit. Moderation is where you can set up the auto mod feature from Mix It Up on what it allows, whether or not you can allow links, if you want, you know, specific people to be able to follow for a certain amount of time, filtered words and things like that if you want to have those on. That's all good and done that you can set up there. Command history just shows you an event of all of the commands that you've run. Should you want to make sure that, you know, you're testing things and commands are running in the proper order and things like that. That's just going to be a list of every command that's run on your stream throughout the duration of your stream. Services is going to be where you connect all of your different types of things that you want to do, like meld, stream avatars, your stream deck, stream elements, stream labs, treat stream, all of that gets set up in services. We'll go over a bunch of different services that you can add in the videos that we add them in. And then that is it for that. So thank you so much for running over all of Mix It Up with me and for hanging out with me while I talked about all of that. Like I said, we'll go over each individual part of Mix It Up and what we can do with it in other videos. So hopefully this introduction to what Mix It Up is and all of the powerful things it can do has been helpful to you. If it was, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.